Welcome student. Today we are going to learn about sexual reproduction in flowering plant. In this chapter we will see flower, a fascinating organ of organism. Then pre-fertilization structure and event, in which we will see how the megasporogenesis takes place in the anther and how the pollen grain formation takes place, and how in this female reproductive organ, that is a gynoecium, how megasporogenesis takes place and how the egg formation takes place. Then next, double fertilization. Then post fertilization structure and events, in which we will see how these ovary get ripened and get transformed into fruit. Then next, apomixis and polyembryony. So let us see the meaning of these topic: sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Here sexual it is a process. Sexual means sex, sex, and there are two sex in case of plant as well as animal, that is a male sex and female sex. This one is the male sex, we call it as a androecium, and this one is the female reproductive organ, we call it as a gynoecium. In case of a plant, in this androecium, two male gamete formation takes place, and in case of plant, in this female reproductive organ, gynoecium, egg gamete formation takes place. In plant, these two male gamete fuses with this egg. In the process, we call it as a fertilization. Means these are two male gamete and this egg. Two male gamete, that is a male, and egg of a female. Male and female, these are two sex, take part in that process. That process we call it as a sexual. What is it? Sexual. Then reproduction. Here reproduction means means again, and production means making, means by the sexual act. Again production, again making of organism takes place. We call it as a sexual reproduction. In case of what? Flowering plant. Here flowering means, flower means angios, and flowering plant, here flowering plant means angiosperm. Angios means flower and is a sperma means a seed. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants or angiospermic plant. So let us see the first. This is a topic: flower, a fascinating organ of angiosperm. Flower, a fascinating organ of angiosperm. So what is flower? Flower is nothing but it is a modified shoot. Here flower is nothing but it is a modified shoot. In case of angiospermic plant, angiospermic plant get differentiated into root, stem, branches, leaf, flower. This is a portion, we call it as a shoot, and this portion is also we call it as a shoot. So in case of angiospermic plant, see here, this one is one of the angiospermic plant, Delonyx regia. In this plant, this is a structure, this one. This is a structure, we call it as a shoot. This is a structure, we call it as a shoot. And flower is nothing but a modified shoot. What is it? modified shoot. Another plant is there, this one. It is a Dhatura stramonium, and in this Dhatura stramonium, this one is the shoot, and this portion get modified into flowers in the millions of years. In the millions of years in the evolutionary history, angiospermic plant for 100% fertilization, they modified their shoot. This one is the angiospermic shoot. It consists of a node. This one is the node region, and the distance between two successive nodes like this, we call it as an internode. And there is a rule that from the node region leaf get originate. In the millions of years, according to the need for 100% fertilization, these angiospermic plant, they condense this shoot, and when the shoot get condensed, these all node region, they come closer with each other, and due to which the leaf, they get arranged in the whorl. All the leaf, they arrange in the whorl in this fashion. All the leaf, they arrange in the whorl. These all are the node region, they come close with each other, and today this structure in the flower, we call it as a thalamus, or we call it as what? Receptacle. And on these structure, that is a thalamus or receptacle, leaf, they are arranged in the whorl in circle. So it forms the outermost whorl, then it forms inner whorl like this. The outermost whorl, this one, get modified into like this structure, we call it as a calyx. Then next whorl, beneath this calyx, this a leaf, next whorl, this leaf get modified into next, we call it as a corolla. Then next whorl get modified into like this a male reproductive organ, we call it as androecium. And the innermost whorl get modified into like this structure, we call it as a female reproductive organ, we call it as a gynoecium. And here the apical meristem which is there, that apical meristem, it contribute in the process of microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis in case of this androecium and gynoecium. So student, like this in angiospermic plant should get modified into like this flower. You know that a flower is nothing but it is a modified shoot. Now in case of this Delonix regia, the common name of this plant, we call it as a wood mower. These all are the flowers. Now this is a flower, this one. It consists of these are different whorl. See, this one is the one whorl. This one is another whorl. This one is next inner whorl, and innermost whorl is also there. So in case of this flower, these all whorls, they are arranged on this structure. That structure we call it as a thalamus, or we call it as a receptacle. So this is a portion, we call it as a thalamus, or we call it as a receptacle, and this one is the pedicel. The outermost whorl of the flower, in case of this flower, this is the outermost whorl which is green in color. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. This outermost whorl, collectively we call it as a calyx, and the one member of this calyx, we call it as a sepal. So one member of this calyx, we call it as a sepal. Then next whorl of the flower, this one colorful whorl of this flower, we call it as a corolla. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Collectively we call it as a corolla. But one member of this corolla, this one, we call it as a petal. So petal, this petal, this petal, this petal, this petal. Collectively we call it as what? Corolla. So this is a calyx and this is a corolla. These are the accessory whorl of the flower. This is a calyx and this is a corolla. We call it as an accessory whorl. Means this accessory whorl, it supports in the process of pollination, it supports in the process of fertilization in case of this flower. Then next whorl of the flower, we call it as an androecium. This one is the androecium. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All these structures collectively we call it as androecium. But one member of androecium like this, one member of androecium, we call it as a stamen. One member of androecium, we call it as what? Stamen. This stamen, it is a male reproductive organ. It consists of this anther lobe and it consists of this one filament, and here it is a connective. Means this stamen, it consists of this anther lobe, connective, and this filament. Then next, innermost whorl of this flower, this one. Innermost whorl of this flower, this one, we call it as a gynoecium. This is the innermost whorl of this flower, known as a gynoecium. And one member of gynoecium, we call it as a carpe. This is a gynoecium. This is a gynoecium. This one, this is a gynoecium, is also known as a pistil. It is a female reproductive organ. And androecium, this one, it is a male reproductive organ. This is a male reproductive organ, androecium, and female reproductive organ, that is the gynoecium. These are the necessary whorl of the flower, because these androecium and gynoecium, they actually take part in the process of what? Fertilization, due to which it is known as a necessary whorl of the flower. And these calyx and corolla, it help in this process of fertilization, due to which this calyx and corolla, we call it as a accessory whorl of the flower. In case of a bud condition, when the flower is in bud condition, at that time, these all are the calyx, which is green in color. These calyx protect the inner whorl of the flower, that is the corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. This calyx, it is green in color. So in bud condition, it performs the function of photosynthesis and supply food material to the developing accessory as well as what? Necessary whorl of the flower.